Hello everyone and welcome back to Passion Sundays, the best way to end the week and start another. Our guest today is one of the leading experts on helping people build relationships that are profitable, Lindsay Adams. Lindsay, thank you very much for being with us.
Mustafa, it's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
I loved having a chat with you yesterday and understanding how you can help people truly connect and then turn that into profit, rather than start by how can I be making money from the person that I'm talking to.
You know, it's something that a lot of people are not so good at. We want to connect with people, but we don't know how, or often don't know how. And so what I teach is some really simple steps about how to get into a relationship quickly and then how to turn that relationship into a profitable relationship. And so, you know, the first simple step is really about focusing on the other person 100%. I don't know if you've ever been to a function and you're talking to someone and their eyes are darting around the room. They're looking to see who's more interesting or more exciting than you. And you know, a good way to ruin a relationship right from the get-go. So focus on the other person 100%. And the next thing that I try to do is to find some common ground. And so there's lots of ways that you can do that. But if we find some common ground, what we have in common, it opens up the conversation. So if I'm talking with a lady, I might compliment her on her jewellery. For you, Mustafa, it's so easy. I love that bow tie. Wow. You always have so many different bow ties. And so we can talk about that. And the rule here is I use the 80-20 rule. So 80% of the time I want you talking and me listening. And the more you talk, the more you will like me, simply because you're talking about yourself. And it's so simple, but the complex part is to actually ask the right questions to get the person talking about themselves. And then, while they're talking, I'm trying to figure out, is this someone that I can do business with? And so it's a yes-no for me. If it's a no, I'm thinking, well, is this someone that one of my close inner circle of buddies could work with? Yes, no question. If it's two no's, I stop talking to you. Because
but here's the question. A lot of times I would personally prefer to be talking to somebody that I share the passion with. So how can I be passionate? Let's say you're not into fashion and then you want to compliment me on my bow tie, but you know there's no true passion connection between the topics we're talking about. How can I build a relationship with somebody like this?
So it's really about, well, the next step in my simple model is it's a small act of service. Okay. So I'm going to find some way to help you so that we can connect at a deeper level. And, you know, one of the examples I often give is I went to a conference. I'm lined up at the buffet. I come to the big pile of plates. I grab the plate. I turn to the guy behind me. I read his name tag and I say, "Hi, Bill. I'm Lindsay. Here's your plate." And this happened to me in the US recently. This Bill, he was so surprised that I gave him the plate, because most people just take the plate and start putting food on for themselves. And so we filled our plates, we went and sat down for lunch. We had the most amazing conversation, and he's now my second best friend for life. I have an open invitation to stay in his house. We literally spent 30 minutes together over lunch. And so, but there was a deep connection opened up by the small act of service. Now, a small act of service could be, Mustafa, I read a great book which I think you'd love. I go buy you a copy of the book, give it to you. Or I find an article online, I send it to you. So find some way to serve the other person. Or maybe I find another great speaker and I say, "Mustafa, you need to interview this guy for your show." So it's really about tuning into the other person to find a way to connect with them. So get them talking about themselves, help them in some way. Now, the next step is to figure out, can we do business together? And this is where we turn the relationships into profit. And my next kind of statement will be something like, "Mustafa, you're a really interesting guy. I know we don't have a lot of time now. I'd love to catch up with you maybe next week for a cup of coffee or maybe some lunch. And I think we have so much in common that we could probably help each other in business."
But to say a statement like that, where we have so much in common, but we might not naturally be on the same passion per se.
Sure. So it depends, okay? But the key words here are, I'd like to meet with you. We may be able to help each other in business.
Okay. So it's the help factor. It doesn't have to be the passion factor.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so what it's about is, again, it's I think we can help each other. And so I literally want to help you. You know why? Because if I help you, what's going to happen in return? The law of reciprocity says you will help me. And I also have a more spiritual belief, and that is that if I help people, the universe will return that to me anyway.
Yeah.
And so that's a kind of a different perspective, and some people don't get that, and that's okay.
Okay.
But you know, the relationship thing is so simple, yet so powerful.
So all you got to do basically is be passionate about providing value to others first,
Yeah,
rather than look for your own passion with them.
Absolutely.
So you're saying totally reverse the cycle in relationships. I shouldn't seek people who are as passionate as I am about the same thing. I'm just going to go and find a way to serve them in their own passion, and that would reverse.
So have you ever had this happen? Have you ever met someone, you shake hands, nice to meet you, and then they say, what do you do? And you say, oh, I run one of the things I do is Passion Sunday.
Yeah.
And I interview people, and they go, oh, wow, well, you must film that. I actually sell video cameras, and we've got a really good special on this month. Have you ever had, like, I met a printer once, and he said to me, what do you do? And I said, oh, well, I speak at conferences, I run training seminars and workshops, I do a little bit of consulting. He said, you must print training manuals. I said, yeah, I do. And then he launched into a full-on sales pitch. I didn't even know the guy.
Yeah.
And so we really have to put our lust or our passion for profit onto the back seat until we establish the relationship
first.
And we've got to really genuinely try to connect. Now, I compliment you on your bow tie. I mean, when we walked in, I went, hey, mate, nice shoes.
Yeah.
I genuinely like shoes. I mean, have a look. I'm a shoe guy.
Yeah.
And it's a simple way to make a connection.
Okay.
And so it's then the next step is to how do we deepen that connection in a realistic, genuine way. If I genuinely don't like your bow tie, then, genuinely I really wouldn't want to talk about it.
I understand, okay. So be genuine about what you're complimenting,
Absolutely.
and then slowly find a way. If there's a passion that connects, great. If not, just simple as, it's all a good connection after all.
And, I think some people, when they go to, they go to a networking function or a business event, they try to be someone else. You just got to be yourself.
Be yourself.
Be yourself. And people detect fake really quickly.
Yeah.
Whereas they detect genuine and they like genuine. And so again, it's really about that. Be yourself. I once coached a woman. She was Austrian by birth, very severe, very serious woman. And she said to me, oh, Lindsay, you're so funny, you're so quick, you're witty, you're sharp. I want you to teach me to be like you. And I thought about this for a whole week between coaching sessions, and I went back the next week and I said, her name was Elizabeth, and I said, Elizabeth, you can't be me. You have to be you. And I think, there's a message there. We all have to be ourselves and try and find a little bit of something that we like in the other person and then focus on that. I mean, some other things that we can talk about, simple things like family. Mustafa, are you married? Do you have children?
Engaged.
Oh, you're engaged. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks.
So when's the big day?
Coming soon once I move to Australia.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Really nice. So now, what do we just do? Genuine inquiry. You're getting engaged. Now, we could go on and talk about, well, where will you live in Australia? How long have you been seeing each other? Was this a whirlwind romance? Are were you boyfriend, girlfriend for many, many years? There's lots of different ways that you could go with that simple conversation. But again, when I asked you, are you married, do you have kids? You said, oh, I'm engaged. And I said, wow. And your face lit up as well.
So you brought your passion for the topic back into me. Okay.
And once I saw that you were passionate, then I knew I was on the right track.
Obviously, we're getting married to that lady, so I'm definitely in love with her. I'm very passionate about her. But I see what you've done. You've actually even taken that, by you being passionate about it, you even took it to the next level.
And I think, there's a real key there, and it's about the passion, and the other person detects, if I go, so you're getting engaged, how exciting.
Okay. Okay, so be passionate about the person, regardless of the topic.
Yeah, absolutely. And show some passion, find that little piece of common ground, and then open that up into the wider conversation. And again, get them talking about them. And if it's more than a one-on-one conversation, include other people. Bring them all in and make them all feel good. I often say when you're at a networking function, act like a host, not a guest.
Act like a host. Actually, I think this is a beautiful takeaway from this episode, because in life, we act like guests. And if we start acting like passionate hosts about life, life becomes ours.
Absolutely.
Lindsay, this has been a phenomenal way to conclude. Thank you very much for this amazing passion that you're displaying for
My
relationships.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Passion.
What do you think? I hope you found this episode as amazing as I did about building passionate relationships. If so, please leave your comments on the blog below and do share it with your friends. And if you'd like more tools, tips, techniques, and exclusive interviews that I only share on my website, go to mustafa.com. And until next episode, live passionately.